Why don't you pick on the brain your own size? We got a badass over here. Plus I got your back. Nah, astrophysics black guy. Hating planetary fly. By the way, the answer to your little calculation is I. As in I put the swag back in science while Isaac Newton was lying and sticking daggers and lightnings and hiding up inside his attic on some Harry Potter business. The universe is infinite, but this battle is finished.
9 billion names of pod.
From Atlanta,
where Salacious Crumb has a summer home.
it's the 9 billion names of pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Bib Unfortuna.
So let's talk about some stuff. Okay,
Sure, why not?
don't ever do that again.
Well, now you're just encouraging me, and now I will do it a lot.
I'm in charge of the mute button, so keep that in mind. Been a weird couple of weeks, or a weird week at least.
It's been a weird 1,000+ days.
Yes, we know that.
Not weird. What is it? Horrifying. It's kind of like, to me, the Trump presidency is like that scene in The Thing where the head sprouts legs.
Yeah.
They turn around and go, "You've got to be fucking kidding me."
Every day.
That's the Trump presidency. But I have a feeling you're talking about something
I'm talking about
else.
a bunch of other stuff.
Sure.
I had a very interesting interaction this week.
Really?
I did. If
Do
you
tell.
are on my social media, you had seen. So I am. There is a venue here in Atlanta called the Cobb Energy Center, which is a very nice, really beautiful venue, and
Oh, yeah.
it makes me laugh every time because the look it up online, look at pictures of it,
Well,
and
it's not blown up?
well, no, it's not blown up, but it's they have like opera boxes on the sides.
Yes, they do.
And they're very roundish, and I always am expecting the Emperor and Yoda to start fighting in there because
Exactly.
that's what it looks like.
And I threw the Senate on him. No,
the whole
Senate.
the entire Senate. That's what it looks like. And I'm on the list over there, so I get to, I do gigs over there now and again, and do, the first one I did was the Beach Boys, setting up rolling road cases and running power and running
The Beach
XLRs.
Boys, now with 1.5 original members.
There were two.
Two.
There were two.
Mike
when I
Love
saw
and
them.
somebody else.
Al Jardine. That's who the two originals that were there. Very nice guys. But this was a long time ago. But this week, or 3 weeks ago, I got an email from my friend over there and said, "Hey, are you available to work A2, which is second audio for the Neil deGrasse Tyson show?" And I said, "Good God, I certainly hope so." And it just happened to work out at the aquarium that I was able to make it work. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, if you cover this and this is covered, and then, yeah, you can do it." And it was, on one hand, it was one of the easiest gigs ever. It was his book tour, basically. So it was a screen. We set up a rear projector.
Yep.
We brought out a lectern, not a podium, a lectern, and put 2 mics on it and a line for his laptop, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the setup that he had when Ellen and I went to go see him at the Fox.
Yeah, so same thing. Just him talking. And
Now, the Fox was like sold out. How was Cobb?
sold out.
Sold out?
Sold to the walls, they said.
Nice.
All 2,800 seats.
I think they realized once tickets went so fast. He's been here one time before your show since I went and saw him, and I think that might have been at the Fox too. I can't remember.
He was at the Cobb Energy Center previously as well.
Oh,
2
was
years
he?
ago, yeah.
Okay, so maybe it was a Cobb. They learned from the show that I was at with Ellen that he can pack a much bigger room.
Yeah.
Every once in a while something will come through town and you're like, you're going to put that band in that room, and it's either they're never going to pack it or, my God, they're going to pack it 10 times over.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? And a lot of times it has to do with, this is their trajectory on their tour. For them to come back when the bigger venue is available,
Just wouldn't work.
it wouldn't work. I
Yeah.
mean, when you think about it, they have to, if you're plotting a tour with a band, you try to go roughly in a circuitous route. You don't want to be going West Coast, East Coast. You kind of...
Yeah, you do that on my level. We used to do that. We used to call it the Star Tour because it would be, Atlanta to Virginia to Florida to
Wyoming
to South Carolina to Birmingham.
Exactly.
Alabama.
You try not to do that. And if you're like, well, the only day we can play Atlanta is this, and, Cobb isn't available, is the Fox? Sure, you play the Fox.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but anyway.
So he, so it was his book tour. He has a new book about letters he has written to people, which is very, very interesting.
He's been doing the talk show circuit. I've caught 2 or 3 of his appearances.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the talk was amazing, as you can imagine. You've seen him previously. Oh, yeah. So the amazing part was, we set up the stuff, and then they're like, oh, he'll be arriving at 5:45. 5:45, he just comes walking in. It's just him. He has an older lady with him. We never, I guess, his management or his publishing
might
manager.
Be a personal assistant. Just someone to handle the nitty gritty stuff so he can concentrate on the show.
No entourage, no crew, no nothing. Just him and his bag. And he comes in and looks at me. He's like, "Hey, everybody, how you doing? It's nice to meet you all. It's great." He looks at me and he goes, "Oh, I like your shirt," because I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Of course you are.
As I am want to do from time to time. And he goes, and I said, "Yeah, stay on target." He goes, "Yeah." He puts his bag down. He goes, in The Force Awakens, when this happened, and my head exploded right on all over this thing.
You were getting Neil deGrasse Tyson
right off the bat. It didn't not even a hesitation. He explained to me. He said, "Yeah, in The Force Awakens, when they made that new Death Star, the base, the Star Killer base, he said, it sucked all the energy out of the star and weaponized it." He said, "We can calculate exactly how much energy has come out of that star and exactly how much energy they could shoot out." He says, "And they could have blown up 1,000 planets with that amount of energy, and then the movie would have been over." And I was like, "Oh, not just the 5?" And he's like, "Yeah,
all the planets." Well, that's the film.
Right.
The galaxy has been destroyed.
Right. It was amazing and completely surreal because we were just chatting, about Star Wars with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
See, the problem that I had with that, just as a sidebar here, it's sucking the energy from the star, okay?
Yes.
But it's like, we're almost there. They're holding the energy of a star.
Right.
So that's where I go, no.
Well,
now, if you were starting the laser beam and just having it channel through Star Killer, then I'm there. But you're basically just
funneling it into a different place.
You've got a whole bunch of fucking AAA batteries all taped together down in the basement to hold the energy of a star before you go, oh, now. Now, of course, if they were able to just turn it on immediately, then the whole suspense thing wouldn't happen.
He was funny too. He said, and I do like Star Wars, even though there's absolutely no probable science in it. And I looked and I was like, yes, I know. And I even asked him, I said, does that make you, do science fiction movies make you crazy? And he said, no, I'm not a freak. I can enjoy movies.
They're science fiction.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking about an orbiting, space lab, that happens around
if you're talking
Earth.
about like The Martian.
If you're talking about gravity or something like that, then yeah, he's got a bone to pick. And you know what? Part of me goes, fucking shut up, let people enjoy. But on the other hand, it's like, no, science, man.
Yeah.
If you can get the science right, get the science right.
He goes, he said, what also makes me laugh? He said, in Star Trek, he said, which had much better science. I was like, yeah, they had consultants and everything. He said, yeah. He said, the phasers, he said, there's no reason for you to be able to see them from the side.
That's true.
He said the light would have to be emanating from all sides, and it wouldn't do that, and there's no reason. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Yep. And you know about the Breaking Bad Star Trek theory?
No.
Oh, you don't. Badger and what is his name? Stinky Pete.
Okay. Yeah.
Badger and Pete. They hypothesized that there's been like 125 Kirks in the entire run of Star Trek because he gets destroyed every time. Yes. Every time he transports, and they just recreate him.
Right.
So,
which one is the real one? Yeah.
OG Kirk that, was birthed from his mama, was disintegrated on his first transporter trip, and they just keep recreating him, which means the whole thing about being able to store your essence in McCoy. We've got science for that, because apparently if your file is, if your self is on file,
Yep.
you can just go, oh, he died on the planet. No problem. Beep, and now he's back.
Yeah.
Seriously. Kind of a bit of a...
Well, they took that. They also ran with that concept on Rick and Morty too.
Right, exactly.
where there's-
Infinite Mortys.
Yeah. Well, how many Ricks?
Oh,
you
God,
know,
yes.
the Ricks have... The Rick and Morty we see aren't even the real ones. The original ones were Cronenberg.
Exactly. but again, much like my Star Killer thing, if you could just recreate somebody if they die, the stakes become non-existent in the show.
Yes.
You're going to be down to the planet. Oh no, what if something happens? Yeah, so
Yeah, we'll just
who
fix
cares?
it.
Oh, look, it's the Gorn. Recreate me with bigger muscles,
The last thing I'll say, the craziest thing that happened at the Neil, he was very nice. I mean, he was exactly as you see or hear on the podcast, and just teaching and talking, and has that voice, and funny and laughing, and so I'm A2, which means I'm on comm, sitting stage right behind the lectern, waiting for him to, in case something happens.
Right.
And 2 minutes before showtime, he comes walking out with one of the other crew guys, and he looks at me and he goes, "Is there a VOG back here?" Which stands for Voice of God, which is a microphone on the side of the stage.
Oh, I was going to ask you about this, but I think I know the answer
And I
now.
I was like, "It's right here for you, sir." And he goes, "Great. Are you gonna announce me?" And I said, "Okay." He says, "Okay, just say Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist." And I looked over to the other guy, and he went, "Well, go ahead. It's time." And I would just turn around to the microphone. Luckily, I'm not afraid of microphones at all. It's just, "Ladies and gentlemen," and the place went crazy. "Please welcome your personal astrophysicist."
I got to say, back in the day, one of my first, I won't say it wasn't a theater gig. It was running lights for bands at Straight Ahead Sound, and I had the God mic up there.
Yep.
And the guy running sound wanted nothing to fucking do with it. Not even the guy in the spot, which was on a stand in the corner shooting down. So it was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Assassin," or whatever band it was.
Yeah.
And I got a perverse thrill out of that.
It's kind of fun.
It's kind of nice.
It's kind of fun,
Of course, I should have done it the way the guy introduces Morris Day's band in Purple Rain.
It's been a while.
He goes something like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the time."
Yeah.
That's it.
That's right.
And that one shot where it's like, is he a mannequin? Because he moves nothing but his mouth a little bit, and he's like, I am dead inside. Here is the time.
I have to check the microphones every day at my job at the aquarium, and I sometimes, if there's no one in the theater, I will always do "This is mic number one. This is mic number one. Isn't this a lot of fun?" And then my other favorite is to lean into the mic and go, "Paging Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you have a telephone call at the front desk."
That's awesome.
It's just one of those fun things I get to do,
It's one of the well done there, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, it was one of those weird ass things that happened to me that I can't explain or justify, but here we are.
God, the only fun stuff that I've been able to do since coming into Atlanta, band wise, I got to. I was on the overhire crew for Indigo Girls.
Oh, that's awesome.
Chastain, which was cool. Got to talk to some of their roadies who have, these ladies could beat my ass and have been with the girls since like tour number 1.
Oh yeah, from here too.
Yeah. Well, right here in Decatur.
Yeah.
And running spot for Roberta Flack.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. And of course, I got to see Sybil Shepherd in the green room at the Alliance when she was doing her one-woman show down in the Hertz.
Oh yeah.
Doing it badly.
So,
And Terrence Mann too. You got to.
I did a show with Terrence Mann.
That's if you're not a theater person, Terrence Mann was the original
Rum Tum Tugger
and a bunch of other stuff.
and
too.
he was
in
also
Cats, by the way.
in
if you
Cats,
don't if you don't know theater, you won't know what that means
Yeah,
either.
no. Is Cats Theater?
You know.
But he was also, I can't remember the name he played Whispers. I can't remember. It was on Sense8.
Ah.
He was the evil doctor in Sense8.
Okay, there you go.
So, and I looked like, hold it. I looked at the date. He did that. He started that role the same year he did
Tuck Everlasting.
Tuck Everlasting with us at the Alliance. And I went, wow, I wonder if that show came on and he did it later in the year, so I could fanboy out, But then again, I was fanboying out when I heard he was in the building. And everyone else on the crew was like, dude, what? Like, dude, this is Terrence freaking Mann. Like, whatever. Jaded as hell.
Right.
Of course, I never, oh, Mr. Mann, remember that time when you had a tail? That was fabulous, Nothing like that, but it was a thrill. I did get to chat with him a little bit.
That's cool.
That was the same show that had some soap guy on that Courtney was like, oh my God, it's the soap guy.
Right, yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Nope.
Everyone in that cast was nice. It broke my heart when that show did not catch on Broadway.
No, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, it was so good. Probably one of my top 3 shows I ever worked at the Alliance.
Yeah, absolutely. It
The
was-
bottom which being Bull Durham.
Yeah, I've heard awful stories about that show.
Oh, there's a reason it died a horrible death everywhere. Just nobody. Anyway, so well done.
Thank you. I got to meet. I went to the Penn. I was hoping to get called to work the Penn and Teller show as well, but I bought tickets just in case because I was like, I'm going to be in the building one way or the other.
Exactly.
And I thought it would be a long shot because they need their own crew.
That's true. If they've got a lot of stuff going on, they don't want secrets being revealed.
No, and they had from what I understand, they had 1 or 2 local hire, but they brought their guys with them. But at the end of their show, they just run out to wherever, like in Vegas, they just go out, they run out to the lobby and will take a picture and sign and talk to every single person in the audience if it comes down to it. They were there, an hour and a half after the show.
See, that's the thing. I really respect that, but I also know just from experience with other artists, earlier on in my career, that man, after a show, you just wanna. You're the adrenaline stops pumping. You start shutting down a bit, and the last thing you want to do is to go out and meet and greet. And
But
I'd say 2/3 of them did it, half of them grudgingly, and the other third said, "No, fuck that."
Yeah.
Like half the band would go out and shake hands and sign, and the other half would be like,
No, they
I'm
do it
done.
literally every show, and from what I understand, have always done that. That's what they do.
They pulled an Elizabeth Warren.
Was it? Oh, yeah.
You hear that thing? And she had like 20,000 people in New York, and she did a selfie line for like 3.5 hours after her thing. And I'm like, she's probably going to get the nomination.
Oof. We'll see.
I don't know.
We-
I would rather win with something, vanilla and non-threatening like Biden than get really close and have it be a whole thing and maybe lose with Warren.
yeah.
Even though I would much prefer Warren over Biden. But
Yes.
at this point, it's like, I cannot take another 4 years of this festering crap weasel. I cannot take it. It's like, I don't advocate assassination.
No. We will
I
not
don't.
talk about that.
But I understand.
No. No. Happier topics. So 2 things happened this week. 2 things were released this week.
Really?
One really interesting. Well, both very interesting.
Both very interesting.
Do you want to do Star Wars or Watchmen first?
Let's knock out Watchmen first, just because.
Really? Okay.
Just because I'm guessing that topic will go a little shorter than.
Oh, I thought it would be the other way around.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Well, then let's do Star Wars first.
Okay.
Okay, 3PO. What the fuck?
What?
I'm thinking he's getting. Oh, spoilers! But hold it, not spoilers.
It's a trailer.
It's a trailer.
It's
so
been released. Go watch it.
It's been released.
You know,
it's a trailer.
it's 2.5 minutes.
I'm wondering if. Remember at the end of was it Revenge of the Sith, the third prequel?
Okay.
Have this droid's memories wiped. We never saw that. I think this is 3PO knows his memories getting wiped, and he's saying goodbye because he knows his memory banks are about to be wiped, which might allow us to still have 3PO in more Star Wars films, but completely flensed of the Skywalker history, so that it's a whole new thing.
Interesting.
That's my theory.
Interesting.
Unless there's...
My theory is that it's going to be some sort of sacrifice.
That was my other thing.
That's
It's
the only
like,
the only thing that makes
the only way
sense.
we can do is if you patch in, but the chances are you're,
And I mean, I know they have to, what could, I'm trying to imagine what could they use 3PO for? He's a protocol droid. He's fluent in 6 million forms of communication. That's the only thing I can think. Broadcasting to all the different people. I have a feeling what's going to happen is
put out a Jedi call.
well, not even a Jedi call, but yes, a resistance call,
right.
and it's going to fry him because of the scale of it.
Yeah,
That's the only thing. And in the other trailer, you noticed his eyes were bright red in the other trailer, so it's like, yeah, what the fuck, But that moment of putting that in the trailer,
I really hope that before he goes, if he goes, they allow him to have his boner back from that trading card.
look it up. Look it up. Google it.
That was a rather hefty robot boner.
Let
me tell you. As soon as I heard that was a thing, I went, did I miss that? I went back to my cards, which I don't have the boner card.
No. They quashed that.
I don't have a vinyl cape Jawa. Well, I was buying them like right when, I was collecting those cards at 7, 8 years old, right as they were coming out. And man, I've got the full set of trading cards from all 3 of the original films.
Wow.
Start to finish. And
even I don't have that.
I got that. I had about 80% of it, and then sometime in like the early 90s, I traded a bunch of my old Matchbox and Hot Wheels to this guy. Now, I didn't catalog what I had because I wasn't a collector. I just had some shit from my childhood, and he gave me all the cards and stickers that I didn't have. With my luck, probably one of them was, oh my God, it's the rare 64 Corvette that they only made 3 of, and the guy sold it for $250,000 for all I know.
Yeah.
But
luckily you don't know.
But I don't know. I have no idea. I do know that one of the cards had a peanut shoved in it that my sister did that pissed me off, and I left it in there. I remember that. But I couldn't identify a single one of the cars that I sold. So I'm like,
well, that's good then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine. I have my Star Wars card collection that are nice encased.
I had some. I had a handful, but I didn't collect them.
I did.
We're given, a pack or two here.
We were buying packs and trading between friends, like, oh, I'll get that one, get that one, because we were trying to get our sets complete. And that's how I got to like 80% of everything, because I had friends that were also collecting it. So we were, we quickly zoned in on which cards were the most hard to find, because nobody had numbers this, and nobody had them. So we're like, I had a hot list. The collecting started so early with me, so early. Damn you, George Lucas. Anyway, well, possibly a sacrifice.
Yep.
But unless he is the broadcast, why can't you just download those?
Again.
I mean, technology, they're going to have, if it is a sacrifice, they're going to have to really convince me, because there is no fucking reason that as you state it.
I can accept a little bit of Deus Ex Machina just for story purposes. I get it.
We can harness the power of a fucking star, but we can't transmit in 6 million languages simultaneously.
We'll see. We'll see what it means.
Okay.
What I did like about this trailer, to be honest, I wasn't overwhelmed by it. My favorite thing about it was
bland.
It was kind of bland, and it kind of didn't show much, and that's what I like.
Which is good.
That's what I like.
Which is good.
It was vague. There's one shot that I didn't care for, and we'll get to that.
You know what the best shot is? What? That floating ice planet.
Yeah,
that was gorgeous.
And the Star Destroyer's breaking up out of it. So
I'm like, I like that.
Yep, and that
it's
was
like
a
Bespin and Hoth,
Yeah.
You've got Bespin in my Hoth. You've got Hoth in my Bespin.
There were a lot of TIE fighters going to that. A lot of TIE fighters, yeah.
Well, we'll see.
My favorite thing about the trailer, and it was on the third or so watch, was the music, just
Well,
the way they have the epic theme.
And knowing
scored.
that this is it for John Williams.
This is it.
I would not put it past him to go, I'm retired now.
I'm sure he will.
I
I believe
mean,
he will. You
you
know,
know,
he has nothing else to prove.
Or if he has zero to prove. And if he does more stuff, it's stuff that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Not saying that he didn't want to do Star Wars, but I think part of it is a feeling of obligation. Like, this is my life's work, and I can't let in the last couple of films.
He did original music for Galaxy's Edge for the park. And I think I heard some of it but you can get a soundtrack of
I'm
the
sure.
original music of what he did. So
What happened to communicating strictly in John Williams' emoticons?
Oh, you know, I got it. That went as far as it could go.
Okay. Okay. All right. Just making sure there.
Just the fact that there was a John Williams emoji made me just unbearably happy. That's why.
Yeah, I can imagine.
What else?
Well, let's talk about that throne.
That throne.
That looks like a Mustafar throne.
Yeah.
I mean, looks kind of molten, and what's going on with that there.
Yep.
So far, they haven't given any indication, nor should they, and not have it in the film. Darth Vader is dead.
Yes.
Now, there's, he was strong with the Force, but not that strong, and he already came back as a Force ghost, as his younger self, because that,
Yes.
Okay, sure, George.
No one understands that. Nobody.
No. I'm just like, all right, well, fair enough. That's,
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we heard Palpatine's voice in the trailer.
Yes.
We heard Luke's voice in the trailer.
And we heard
Leia's voice.
The Force will be with you.
Always.
Leia, always.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
My number one thing I'm curious about is how they weave together unused Leia stuff into a story and make it not seem, oh wow,
Yeah.
Like they were limited by the footage they had, so they had to do this and this. I want to see a story that could be told that, not the original story they wanted to tell because they didn't have Carrie now.
Right.
But a story that is plausible start to finish where okay, we didn't get as much care as we'd like, but we know why. But the story makes complete sense and doesn't feel like they had to shoehorn in some stuff to try to...
Well, I know for a fact that, I read that both Billy Lord and I want to say Ted Fisher, her brother, both signed off and said, yeah, they did it well. So
Okay.
that's enough for me. But I've been curious about that since the day she died.
Right. There's me with being okay with that as far as authenticity with the family, but then there's also the fan side of me that says, authentic to the survivor, the surviving family members or not, does this story make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And her participation in it, with not found footage, but extra footage.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Is it integral to the plot? Or is it something they just crammed some scenes in there to go, she's in it, and all right, well, that you could have cut
Hopefully
all...
not, yeah.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
don't want to
not.
walk away going, well, they could have cut all the Leia scenes and it wouldn't have changed the movie at all. I'm hoping that's not the case.
Yeah, they have to explain her absence somehow or her limited, appearance.
Well, in Force Awakens, she was hardly...
Right.
She was hardly in it, so it's not like...
Right.
A film can't exist without her in it in every damn scene. So
Yeah, this was supposed to be her movie.
this was supposed to be her
So
movie.
hopefully...
They should have made the second one her movie.
How are they
How
gonna,
are they going to know? I
How are
know.
they going to know?
How are they going to know?
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard to talk about because there wasn't a lot. It was just a lot of images. You got to see Billy D. You got to see Lando. You got to see Rose was back finally.
Just to piss off all the fuck boys out there that I don't understand. Is it because she's a woman character? Because she's an Asian character? She's not an Asian character. She's an Asian actress playing a character. So I'm like, because in space, at least as far as Star Wars is concerned, There is no, oh, you're an African Endorian,
Yeah, no,
It's just people doing the stuff.
Yeah, people from different planets.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. And of course, in this
Humans, I guess, and
humanoid, and on this planet, your eyes and skin look like that, and that planet, your eyes and skin look like that, and they happen to coincide with some stuff we have here on Earth, but that's,
But again, really good trailer because didn't show a lot. Kerry Russell is in the movie. Didn't see her at all.
no.
Matt Smith is supposedly in the movie.
They purposely kept him out.
Kept him
I
out.
think that's going to be a big reveal.
Yeah.
Either it's going to be a tiny, like, oh, there he is, or it's going to be like, oh, fuck.
I hope he is a son of a bitch Imperial officer.
That,
To
more
see-
of a son of a bitch
First Order officer.
than old Chrome Dome there. That was the weakest fucking character on the planet.
It was just poorly handled. Should have been, yeah.
And she's a phenomenal actress. It's nothing
and
on
it should
her.
have been an amazing character.
It was the writing, essentially.
Yes, exactly.
And imagine your horror, imagine Dan. You like, we've got a tiny role for you to play in Star Wars, and you read it and you're like, this character sucks.
Yeah.
But you're like, but it's Star Wars, so I'll make the best of it. And I think that's probably what.
Poor Gwendolyn Christie got kind of shafted. And the character got shafted. She should have been like,
Yeah.
you don't get to be that badass without being that badass. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You don't get to be that high rank. But
She got her ass kicked pretty easily, and
in both movies, to
it's
be
like,
honest.
give us the codes. No, give us the codes. Oh, all right, but
All
she'll
right.
never get out anyway. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
problems. See, it's not just you, George. There's problems everywhere.
Okay, the one scene that bothered me.
Okay, does it involve Kylo Ren?
Yes.
Does it involve his careless handling of his fucking laser hilt where he moves it? It's like, dude, you're gonna cut yourself. I know that's like supposed to be a badass move, but it looks like, dude, what are you doing? You've got, okay.
That was not the scene that bothered me.
That bothered me a little bit because it looked like is he trying to holster it? What is he doing with that move? It looks really dangerous.
Yeah. We'll see where that
But
goes.
okay, what
The scene was the two of them
yeah.
destroying something
Oh yes.
together. Because it's
Now-
like, so does that mean they're gonna like team up? Obviously, yes. But why, and why would you show that?
But there's also been the dark ray theory and some of the
Yes.
stuff there, and we don't know if that's a dream, a fantasy, where they lead you thinking she's turned, but she
And
hasn't, and
that Kylo Ren is wearing the mask.
yeah.
So what's that about? Why is he still wearing it? Why does he put the mask back?
And I
there?
thought it might have been, he destroyed Darth's original mask, but that thing was a little too big and shiny to have been Darth's, twisted.
Well,
fucked up
Darth's mask, Vader's mask was burned and melted in on Endor.
And yet somehow Kylo Ren had it in the first.
Well, yeah, but he couldn't do anything with it. It was a melted
Right.
blob.
Right. I thought initially it was them destroying that mask as like some kind of
no! It
as
looked
a
like
symbol.
a statue or
but it
something.
looked it looked much larger, shinier.
Yeah, and maybe it was a statue of Vader, but why? Because it was black. I don't know, and that just seeing them team up kind of bothered me. It's like,
Well-
I mean, I know it's inevitable, but why would you show that?
It's the whole thing. Will they? Won't they? On many levels, are they going to get down? Who knows? There's some kind of an attraction there.
Yeah.
Is he going to go to good? Is she going to go to evil? My guess is that they will remain platonic, and he will get her. She will get him over to the good side. That's my prediction because that's the way this fairy tale bullshit usually ends.
Of course.
It can't be at the end where the Emperor's dead and Darth's like, no, I'll survive, I'll be fine, and now we're gonna crush the rebellion. There has to be that. We're in the third act.
Yeah, this is it.
This is the last
This is
of this trilogy. So
And
Act
the whole
1,
thing,
Act 2,
supposedly,
well, the whole
yeah.
Skywalker thing.
Yeah.
We're getting more Star Wars. We're just not
Yes.
getting more Skywalker.
Right.
Which made me think that's why they're gonna wipe 3PO's.
Maybe.
But then I did notice he had a lot of wires hooked up to him in the
back of his head, yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know, is that the wiping protocol? It seems like an awful lot of work that you could literally just Do they not have Bluetooth? You know, wipe, and he's wiped. There we go. You know,
Interesting.
so I'm just, you know, it probably is the you know,
Something to that effect. Hopefully, it's something completely different. What?
they push the button on 3PO sending the message, and somewhere on Tatooine, a bunch of moisture evaporators go, what?
What?
Oh, pew, pew, pew.
Some binary load lifters. Yeah. I believe the official runtime has been announced.
Oh, really?
156 minutes. So
Yeah,
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Longest movie in the series.
Is it? Yeah, I guess that would be.
Yeah, because Last Jedi was 152, I think.
At this point, in for $1, in for a dime.
Yeah, but I mean, at least
in for
it's not going to be a 90-minute, wrap up. It's going to be big and epic.
in for a penny, in for a pound.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. in for $1, in for a dime means you start watching the film and go, this sucks, and you leave. That's what that meant. And I don't care how bad I think this movie may be. It probably won't be. There's no way I'm leaving.
No.
Hell no.
No.
No, can't do that. And I'm expecting it to, pull all the right little heartstrings
Yeah.
and do all this stuff.
I'm going to enjoy it no matter what, and I'll tear it apart after, because I was in tears for most of Last Jedi the first time through, and then I went back and went, wow, some of this is dumb.
Yeah.
Some of the actual film of it is bad, but the chunks are really good.
I just, what is it? I can't remember what her name was. The one that took the rebel ship into hyperspace and killed the star.
Oh yeah. Laura Dern's Holdo,
character.
yeah.
Holdo. God, they just can't get names right in this universe. That's such a stupid name. But the first day I was thinking, okay, you're watching 10, 15, 20 of your ships being destroyed, and only at the end do you go, maybe I should do something about that. She knew she was going to get caught. She knew either caught or destroyed. So might as well. I know they had to draw out the
No. I'm saying the whole entire 15-hour slow-speed chase, white Bronco chase, was dumb to begin with. So yes, I have many issues
because
with
they
that.
had to get down to the horse racing planet and do a bunch of shit.
Yeah, again,
we're freeing the horses.
the giant.
I'm sure there's little 8-year-old girls out there, horsies, and that's their takeaway, and that's their favorite part of the film. Keeping in mind that for us, it seemed a little, okay, whatever. But for kids that are our age when we first saw Star Wars, this to them is their masterpiece.
Of course.
So, I shit all over everything with the knowledge that, for me, it's not up to snuff. But for kids, you forgive an awful lot. I'm sure you've watched things for the first time decades after you saw them as a kid. You have such a memory like, oh, they were so great. And then you rewatch Land of the Lost and go, my God, the acting and did they have a production budget?
No.
This is terrible. So there you go.
Yeah.
And then Will Ferrell totally shits on it again by doing a stupid.
Watched it.
Never. There's no point to it.
Yeah.
There's no point to it. Just like there's no point in watching the Haunted Mansion film with Eddie Murphy. Wrong take. Wrong. No one goes into that on that attraction to laugh. It's not a comedy,
right?
They were trying to do Pirates of the Caribbean Part 2.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of comedic joviality in that ride. So it's, I could see where that
worked very well. Yeah.
That worked nicely. Nothing. No. I would like to see Disney's Haunted Mansion film that's in the same vein, not with the same writing, as Hill House, the Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yeah,
kind of dark and messed up, and but of course it's Disney.
Disney.
They're not going to do an R-rated.
They could pull off a fun, scary, PG-13 Haunted Mansion.
Okay, yeah.
Like a Nightmare Before Christmas type.
But there is news on the R-rated film front. Do you know what it is?
I'm not sure. No.
What is the highest grossing R-rated film ever?
Isn't it The Hangover or something?
Nope.
I don't know. Is it Deadpool?
It was.
Oh no, it's Joker now.
It is.
Yes. Did you see the poster?
And the steps, he's stepping on Deadpool
Yeah.
and Ted.
Yes,
and
if you haven't seen it, yes, Joker has taken over the highest R-rated movie, the highest grossing R-rated movie, and which was previously held by
I think
Deadpool.
there's a qualifier in there
Something, yeah.
because I can't imagine that's the highest grossing R of all time.
No, there is something.
There
to
must
it,
be
yeah.
some qualifier. But anyway,
But Ryan Reynolds put out a poster, and it has on the steps. It has all the subsequent lower grossing movies
on the
Deadpool,
Joker steps
on
with the Joker
steps.
dancing
Yeah.
on them.
And the tagline is "You,
You
motherfucker," which is because they often do that in Hollywood. You know, there's the Avenger, the dinosaurs. You know, who was it? They took a full page ad. Who's it? Universal did Jurassic Park. Took out an ad when the Avengers took over, and you know it's them passing the torch and congratulations for beating us kind of thing. And it's a gentleman's agreement.
But
happened.
Deadpool handles things a little differently.
Yes, that made me laugh so much.
And I remember you were unsure about the success of this film.
I'm still unsure about the entire thing. I'm still at this point like, what was that? And you know, I'm still like, I go back and forth with, wow, that was brilliant. Wow, that I don't understand that.
Okay, if we were to take Joker out of our current times with, well, not that this is the era of toxic masculinity. That's pretty much, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, forever in history.
Yeah.
But take it out of that construct, just as a film, I think it is damn good, and it's going to win
absolutely.
some Oscars. It's just that at this point in time, when, let's face it, white men pick up guns and start killing people, and we can't have girlfriends anymore because we can't do anything. Like, no, you just can't be a dick.
See, I think that's just an unfortunate side effect because I'm looking at it as the origin story of this character that happens to be, yes, a white male who kills people, but he's been that way for 70 years. It's been that character.
Right, it's not like some new invention.
Right.
It's just this made it very real and visceral. I mean, there is nothing in this film that couldn't theoretically actually happen.
Right, and what was interesting is I wasn't looking through it through that lens as you were. You were getting all that, you know, the incel stuff and the mental illness stuff, and I'm looking at it from the comic book side of, is this the Joker? Is this fictional character that I've read a million books of and seen a million, you know, iterations of? And so I'm taking it from a totally different perspective.
Right.
And if you take that, I think if you take that film and, you know, if Batman never existed, if you've never heard of Batman and just watch that movie, it's a really interesting movie.
No,
really interesting.
I mean, you know, oh, look, there's Bruce Wayne and the Thomas Wayne.
You know, it's Taxi Driver is what it is.
It is Taxi Driver.
Completely,
I mean,
you know.
It's basically Taxi Driver meets, you know, Batman or the Batman or the Batman franchise, of which Batman is still a freaking kid, which, of course, you know, Batman grows up to be Batman and the Joker's what? Wearing incontinent diapers by the time that they don't worry about that.
No.
So, but let's not. We've already done our episode on Joker, but I just wanted to mention, I don't know if
it was still number one this weekend.
Yeah, and it had some pretty strong competition opening. Well, Gemini Man, although
Gemini Man is a huge flop.
Is it a flop?
Huge flop.
Poor.
Huge.
Technologically very interesting.
It did. It wasn't number one.
The way they
on the weekend
de-aged.
it opened.
Really?
Yo, no. It is.
Will Smith can't pack him in like he used to be able to.
Well, they were relying too hard on, you know, the special effect of it.
Fresh Prince battles fucking, you know.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept,
or
but
whatever.
it's not. Yeah, and it just nobody cared. So.
Yeah. I thought it was very interesting because with action shots like that, de-aging, man, the rendering must have taken decades.
Oh yeah.
I mean, good grief. That's the kind of film where you look at the credits and there's like 70 different FX shops because they had to farm out like, this is your 5 minutes. Here's are your parameters. Start rendering.
Right.
And yeah, well, that's, you know what? That's fine. I mean, the market speaks. I mean, you know, there are some films that I think are masterpieces that didn't make $1, and there's other ones that are, billion plus.
What was the movie he did with his kid, After Earth?
Oh,
Also a huge flop.
yeah, that he hasn't had that many genuine hits based on his star power.
Not anymore. Yes, I mean, Suicide Squad had its own issues, but it didn't. Luckily, it wasn't really a Will Smith movie.
It was.
He was in it.
It was a Will.
It was a
Smith
Margot Robbie
hit.
movie.
It was a Margot. Yeah.
They were kind of banking on it, and it had its own issues, but
It did. But speaking of things with issues
and comic book movies.
movies.
Okay, I'm interested to hear your take on Watchmen. So the first episode of the Watchmen TV series Watchmen has dropped, and we were both trepidatious. I know that we were both
because of one word,
Lindelof.
You got it.
Yeah, because of Damon Lindelof, our arch nemesis.
Now it has been pointed out to me, and I had forgotten about this. He nailed The Leftovers. The Leftovers is damn near perfect.
Okay.
So, but that's pre-existing material that he was adapting.
Okay. Yes.
So, and of course now, so is
Well,
Watchmen.
it is and it isn't.
Well, it is. Well, the Leftovers went beyond the original book.
Okay.
So the die had been set.
All right.
In Watchmen, the die was vaguely set-ish.
Ish.
This takes place, what is it, 30 years?
30 years, yeah.
30 years later, and apparently Rorschach's manifesto did get out and was disseminated.
Yes.
And what was the reaction? A rise of
white supremacy.
White supremacy, for lack of a better
More or
term.
less, yeah.
That's pretty much it. And guess who's the president?
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford.
For 30 years now, he's been the president.
Now, of course, this does not take place in current. Well, let's see. Watchmen ended, what was it, the mid-'80s?
Watchmen was 1985.
85.
So they're...
President Redford's getting really freaking old.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, right now, we're 30 years past 85, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
And he's still around.
He's still around. He's still
So
kicking.
it's all...
He just did his last film. He did The Old Man and the Gun, and then he said, I'm done. I'm retired. Good for him.
Yep.
So
the timeline kind of works out.
The timeline works out, and I was warned in advance about what the opening scene was about.
Yeah.
It was necessary because of where they're taking the series.
Mm-hmm.
It's was it Tulsa? I want to say 31. Was it?
Something like that.
Something
or
like that.
28 or 31, something like that.
And basically, it's the white supremacists go and just start murdering.
I was reading an article about...
It's based on an actual thing that happened.
Right, that was kind of swept under the rug.
Right.
Like, it's not something... The Tulsa race riot, or whatever it's called, it was not taught in school,
Right.
and it's not a thing a lot of people
From what I
know
understand,
about.
this was an area where, African Americans had become quite prosperous, and the white people said, "Oh, hell no!"
Yeah,
and they came in and just started burning,
murdering, and
just
2 days of hell, and
exactly, and
they recreated this.
Yeah, and it was visceral as fuck.
Yeah,
and it made me kind of it put me off my lunch. I knew that it was coming, but it's like the Holocaust happened, but then you watch Schindler's List and you just want to
yeah,
I hate humans.
And I think because the whole show made me feel that way, because there was a lot of racial stuff in it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, this is an interesting take.
The take is that what is the overwhelming, problem that's facing this time period right now in the series? It's white supremacy,
right? Which
supplanted the fear of nuclear war. Because remember, this was right in the midst of Sting singing about the Russians, if they love their children, don't do this, all this,
right.
So they've switched the threat of nuclear annihilation, which I assume still is a thing that could happen. Mm-hmm. It's not like nuclear technology stopped.
No.
Although who knows what happened after Dr. Manhattan theoretically set off his bombs.
Well, see, here's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
just from this series is not a continuation of that movie.
It's right.
It is the comic. Because in the movie,
it was the squid.
It was the squid,
Right.
which was a big deal, and that was the big why did they change that in the original?
Right.
When we
and unexplained, we get squid rain.
yeah,
What the fuck's that about?
right. And so so this is a continuation of the book in which Ozymandias, Adrian Veidt, engineered a hoax, basically, of an alien invasion of a big giant squid in the middle of Times Square, which killed a lot of people,
Right.
but it unified the world against
The aliens.
the aliens. Whereas
That's right. Because the film was nuclear. The book was alien.
Was alien.
It was aliens.
But it was the same outcome, which was where he was unifying the world itself against an enemy, as opposed to fighting each other.
Right. Turn our anger outward at what's coming at us rather than at each other about
Right.
what.
And the end of the book is Rorschach's journal ends up on somebody's desk and blows that story open. Like, no, there wasn't an alien invasion. This was made up to
Right.
trick you.
And of course, these white supremacists, now calling themselves the Seventh
Seventh
Cavalry, have they've exchanged their pointy hoods for makeshift Rorschach masks, which they don't have the pulsing properties that Rorschach's did, but it's just basically it's
a sock
It's like a
on it.
white sock with the eyes cut out,
Yep.
mouth cut out, and some spray painting in black around it to kind of mimic what it looked like.
And the police now also
Are masked so they could have a life outside of
protection.
and
And the higher ups in the higher ranks basically have superhero costumes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now, did you catch, the when she goes into the bakery shop, the old man outside? Do you know who that is?
That's Lou Gossett Jr.
Right, but do you know who he is in the story?
Yes, they give that away at the very end, in the last shot.
Okay.
He's the little kid.
He's the kid that survived 1931.
Because I was like trying to figure out, because there was a little kid in the beginning who they kind of shuttle out in a box,
Right.
with, I guess, his aunt and uncle or something, and who knows, and then their car gets overturned or blown up or whatever, and then he wakes up and he's beat up, but he's alive, and his aunt and uncle, whoever they are, they're dead, and he finds a baby, and I was and he walks off with the baby like it's going to be okay, and I was like, that can't be her, she's not old enough.
No.
And then I didn't put it together until the very end, which was a little ham-fisted how they revealed it.
They're still building this version of the universe.
Yes.
So I'm cautiously optimistic that, again, it's Lindelof, so it's like, are we going to get The Leftovers, or are we going to get Prometheus?
Or we're going to get lost,
Well, I still appreciate Lost. It's just I don't think they had a book going into it.
They didn't.
I think they just kind of started and like, ooh, that could be good. And then they had no way to tie it all together even remotely satisfyingly.
Yes.
And almost everyone guessed what they were going to do. And then they threw all these roadblocks and like, all right, it is purgatory.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I understand, it took off. You didn't think it was going to be as big as it was. And you didn't realize you were going to have to fill, was it 5 seasons worth? And yeah. So
some very interesting casting in the show.
Yeah. Don
Again.
freaking Johnson.
Don Johnson.
Now, I'm not saying he's a huge star, but spoilers, by the way, people. If you haven't seen this, just we're not going to talk about anything after, so you can stop right now. So spoilers from this point forward. He died.
Yeah.
At the end, and I'm wondering, did he? Was he just in there for a special appearance?
That's what it looks like.
They pulled a Ned Stark on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, that's a name I know. Great. Well, oh wow, they killed.
Well,
in this case, they killed him off in the first fucking episode. Ned Stark at least lasted a while.
Here's an interesting thing. The character of Jack, played by Matthew Fox in Lost, was supposed to die in the first episode. So maybe he got to do that finally. Have a name and a star and then all of a sudden, and we could kill him in the first episode. Maybe, but Regina King, who's always phenomenal.
Yeah.
Tim,
I've never been a huge fan of hers.
I think she's always been solid and
good
and everything.
Yeah.
Tim Blake Nelson from Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Oh yeah.
Love him. Lou Gossett Jr.
Yeah, Lou Gossett Jr.
I swear I thought he was dead. I really did for some reason.
No, every once in a while I'll have to go to Wikipedia and just double check on certain things. Like holy shit, Al Jarreau died.
Yeah. And in a very odd section of the show, Jeremy Irons.
Yes. Now, they brought him in, and from what I understand from reading articles about it, the producers have neither confirmed nor denied that this is Veidt. This is Ozymandias.
Yes.
So, he's obviously very rich. He is
very weird.
Very weird.
Eccentric.
And he is of an age to where it's plausible that he could be.
Yeah.
So it could be interesting because if you get Jeremy Irons, he's not going to get killed in the first frickin',
No.
I mean, this is someone you hold on to. Even if you originally wanted to kill that character off or whatever, you're like, we got Jeremy Irons? Oh, fuck, I got to rewrite this.
Yeah.
Because that guy brings some heft.
Yeah, he's already been in part of the DC universe as well. He was Alfred in the Justice League stuff. So I like the fact that he's a nerd, comic book movie. So
I think he's a working actor.
Absolutely. Yeah, he doesn't care or know or care.
It's like, watch what? What's the role? Let me read it. Yeah, that seems fine.
I can do that.
Let's do that.
So yeah, that was a very odd section. So again,
I get to play rich and British. I
can do and rich, British, and naked. I can do that.
Yeah. That's there's a weird dynamic going on with his servants.
Yes,
and I'm very curious to see how that plays out over. From what I understand, I think the first series is just 8 episodes.
Okay,
which
I'm good with that.
HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, the rest of them, Netflix to a lesser degree, have learned the British model. Less is more.
Less is more.
If you have $3 million to do your first series, don't do 12, 13 episodes. Do a solid 8.
Yeah, because every American TV series, that's 22 episodes, you'll get 8 filler garbage episodes.
It's because they want to get to syndication as quickly as possible.
Yes.
If the network will greenlight 26 episodes, great. We're a quarter of the way there. We'll do it. We're as opposed to really the story we need to tell to arc it to our we really only need about 10.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm
gonna keep watching.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep watching.
Yeah.
Notice that they knew the squid rain was coming because the alarm
siren.
So apparently this is an often enough phenomenon that there is a emergency warning system. So interesting.
Yeah, they kept showing the squids in the pod where they were interrogating the one Rorschach that they caught.
Right.
And very,
there's something squid related.
Yeah. So I think they're just hammering home that this is the comic and not
if
the
one
movie.
if one of the cops turns out to have square pants, then holy shit, it is on.
No.
No crossover. Watchmen, SpongeBob crossover.
That's a tough sell right there.
I don't know. That's where he gets all his squid burgers. Just harvest
Krabby
the
Patties.
The Krabby Patties. Just harvest the crustaceans or whatever shit's falling out of the sky. All right. Well, yeah. Watchmen. It'll be okay-ish. I still haven't read the damn graphic novel.
It's a read, man. It's a dense read.
I know. I just look at
I know.
I
know.
There is probably 3,000 pages of reading just right there.
Watchmen is just one of those young nerd rites of passage. You know, you get to a certain point where you read comic books and then, you know, I don't think I got through it the first time because I was like, I don't know how old I was. I mean, I was in my teens, so I was like, I don't understand anything that's going on. You know, Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen are both rites of passage, like I said, and they're both. It's not like a comic book. It's a novel. It's a dense thing.
Yeah, it's weird. This is for you, Anthony, if you're listening to this episode. Why didn't you push me harder? Because you had so many comics. You should have pushed me, you know. I didn't ask and you didn't offer, but, you know, it was implied that you know, why didn't you push me? I could have read Watchmen like when it came out.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, well, when did Watchmen come out? Like early to mid 80s, right?
Yeah.
So
probably around 85.
85? Yeah, it would have been a couple years later, but still, it would have been in the, you know, general release time.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how much Alan Moore is going to talk up and love this series.
Yeah, because he does
Is
that.
that going to happen? Let me check. No.
He hates everything.
Is there any adaptation of his work that he's ever liked?
No.
But he cashes those checks now, don't he?
I'm sure he does.
And you know what? He has every right to.
And I believe his partner on the book, Dave Gibbons, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the exec producers. So I think someone from the original, and maybe he might be the artist. I should.
Right.
So there was names I recognized, like, oh, okay. So they, you know, I was like, I'll never get Alan Moore to, you know.
Well, because I would, not knowing him well, and obviously not knowing his greatest work well, having not read it, but from what I've been able to glean, if he were to jump in, he would want to run the show.
Yes.
And my guess is that he did Watchmen. For him, it's done.
Yeah.
He doesn't, you know, if someone wants to adapt it, you know, sure, I'll cash the checks. I have to pay, you know, mortgage, whatever. I have bills to pay, sure. But it doesn't mean I have to, if you come to me for comment, then I'm going to hold back and say, it's fine. They did a great job. Well done. No, I'm going to tell you what I think about it.
Right.
So I can respect him for that.
I mean, the legend goes that this story was a Justice League story, and Night Owl was Batman, and Ozymandias was Superman, and Rorschach was the Question, and Silk Spectre was Wonder Woman, and DC said, you can't do this with our characters, and he said, fuck you, I'll make my own characters. So that's the legend of how it became, because you can see the parallels. It's, you know, the guy with the pointy ears and the gadgets and the flying things, and the Question, a weird mask and a trench coat and a hat. You know, it all lines up. And he was like, no, all right, fine, it's my story, and boom, they still publish it.
Now, do you know what characters? We've already seen 2 of the original characters make an appearance in the first episode.
2.
Or maybe one, and then the one was in the previews for the episode 2. I can't remember. Jean Smart apparently is Silk Spectre.
Oh, is she?
But she's now, was it a crime reporter?
Okay.
Or a novel? I can't remember what the deal is. And we caught a glimpse of Dr. Manhattan.
Yes,
on
we
the
did.
TV screen.
On Mars, yeah.
Right. So the producers there's a third character. I can't remember which one they said, but they've only confirmed that Silk Spectre, Dr. Manhattan, and one other will be in this first series.
Interesting.
So, and Dr. Manhattan you would expect, because theoretically he's eternal now, I'm guessing.
Oh, he was, yeah.
I mean, all powerful, but, you know, is he also,
yes,
you know,
he's completely immortal.
Immortal?
And,
Then he can be in any iteration.
Right. I think it's the Civil War theory that, you know, once you bring Dr. Manhattan into the thing, it's over, because he's, you know, you take the Hulk out of it, because whoever has the Hulk
exactly
wins, so hopefully we won't get Dr.
We've
Manhattan.
got the 7th Cavalry. We've got a Dr. Manhattan.
Yes.
End of series.
You're dust. Yes.
Yeah, and that's the end of the
yes,
series.
It's all fixed. It's all over. So.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Whether he'll play an active part in things this season, who knows?
I'm saying hopefully not.
My guess, if they're smart, they'll really build this world out and bring it to a crescendo and have Dr. Manhattan pop in, third act of the last episode. And all the things you think were going one way, now they could go any way possible. And you may find out that, yes, the 7th Cavalry, they're evil. They must be destroyed. Oh, look, there's Dr. Manhattan. I can't wait till the first episode of Series 2. He may go, no, I'm not doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to do what you think.
And that was the thing. If you were in the books, a lot of his attitude was, well, none of this matters, in the cosmic sense. You guys can fight and kill each other. It doesn't, he didn't do any of the stuff he did because he cared about humanity anymore because he's not human.
Exactly.
So he might be like, I don't care.
And they handled that okay in the film.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people talk down the film. I enjoyed it for what it was, knowing that was my first, first taste of that world. So having not read the graphic novel, if I had read it first, like I promised I would do, and then had your copy sitting next to my
did give it back,
bedside
though,
reading for like a year. They're doing a film. All right, I'll read it. Year later, all right, let's go see the film. I haven't read it yet. Here's your book back.
Well, that's okay. Courtney finished it in the car before we went to the movie. Like, she was on the last book. She was like, we can't go inside yet. We can't go inside. It's like, you got about 25 minutes, so finish it.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, she did better.
She finished it, yeah.
She did better than I did. I just, getting certain things into my book queue is just, the first 5 books are so solid all the time that anything getting further up there is just like, it's not going to happen. Now, speaking of graphic novel adaptations, do you remember an old Adult Swim show called Drinky Crow?
Yes. Weird ass.
Weird as hell.
Very Adult Swim.
I think the name of the guy who created it was like Tony Millionaire. I think that was his name.
Love it.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, apparently Tony Millionaire is somewhat reviving Drinky Crow, and they're going to start a new film called
Medication time. Medication time.
We ran out of time. I will tell you next week.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Beni Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lohner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the Office of Howard and Fine. Remember, HBO, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. Our intro music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast was sponsored by Deep Shag Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Post a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Listen, watch on YouTube. Stream us on Spotify. Listen on Soundcloud. Stream on Stitcher. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Or email us. comlink@billionpod.com. And until this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOZ!
Audio Primate.